Welcome back. It is still Afrosport now in focus. I've got our in-house expert here on Afrosport joining me on the show today, Ibikule Salaho. Great to have you, Ibikule.
Thank you for having me today, Dolo.
Yeah, it's good to see you smile on your face for once. The Premier League got off to a very, very good start over the weekend. Let's wrap up all the results from the weekend's action. It started with Nottingham Forest hitting Brighton for 7. That's Brighton's heaviest defeat in the Premier League. Newcastle United were beaten at home. Rodrigo Muniz with the winning goal for Fulham in their 2-1 win. Everton defeated Leicester City by 4 goals to nothing. More problems for Ruud van Nistelrooy's team. Ipswich Town were beaten at home by Southampton. Joe Aribo and Paulo Nacho with the goals for Southampton, the 2 Nigerians in the team. Liverpool, 2-0 winners at Bournemouth to keep their lead at the top at 6 points with a game in hand. Mohamed Salah with a brace there. Wolverhampton Wanderers, a super Matthias Cunha strike in the second half, ensuring they defeated Aston Villa by 2 goals to nothing. On Sunday, a pair of Jean-Philippe Mateta goals saw Crystal Palace defeat Manchester United by 2 goals to nothing. Pape Sarr got the all-important goal for Tottenham as they defeated Brentford 2-0. And, of course, Arsenal hit Manchester City 5-1 at the Emirates Stadium. A couple of 18-year-olds with goals for Arsenal in that one. There's a Monday game. This is Chelsea up against West Ham. And let's just start. Let me bring you in, Ibikule, and say this weekend was billed as the weekend where it was going to be really tricky. Liverpool went to a Bournemouth side who were very capable of picking points off them. And Arsenal, despite Manchester City's problems this season, still knew they had to put a performance in to get a result against City.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it on Friday, how tricky it was supposed to be, or it was going to be. Bournemouth had not lost, I think, in about 11 games in the Premier League. Liverpool were on an 18-game unbeaten one of themselves. And, Mo Salah did the job, surpassed Frank Lampard to be, 6th all-time in the Premier League.
But it wasn't an easy game.
But it wasn't an easy game, One shady penalty, which I still think shouldn't have been given, the Gakpo foul. Then a second half, I think 72nd or 73rd minute strike.
But in between, a lot of missed chances for Bournemouth.
Yeah. Liverpool's second goal literally came immediately after Patrick Kluivert missed the opportunity to level the game for them.
Justin Kluivert.
Sorry. The father is still in my mind. Yeah, Justin Kluivert. So, it just tells you about how quickly these games swing. Who knows, if Bournemouth had gotten that goal equalized, maybe they could have gotten a winner. But on the other side of things, at the Emirates Stadium, the Gunners shocked everybody. I felt like going into the game was a bit. I think Arsenal had a bit of an edge because obviously.
But nobody thought 5-1.
Nobody thought 5-1 because City were really not in that great of a form. But you look at what happened. Arsenal got the very early goal. A lot of mistakes from Manchester City. Could have doubled their lead quickly. Kai Havertz missed that sitter. Then came back in the second half. City got the equalizer through Elinala, and you thought, oh yeah, we have a game on our hands. Then within seconds, Thomas Partey got, put Arsenal back in front. Then you got goals from, like you said, a couple of 18-year-olds, Miles Lewis Kelly, Ethan Wan. I'm very, very happy for those 2 guys, really young guys coming to a team that are sort of like a team that now has an identity. And that's why I speak about when I talk about young guys coming into a team. You don't want to just throw them into the deep. You want them to be settled into a team that has an identity. And that's working really well for Miles Kelly and Ethan Wan. So it was a really, really, really good weekend for both, obviously, Liverpool and Arsenal. But more interesting for Arsenal fans, seeing them finally get one over Manchester City.
I mean, in terms of how transfers work, obviously, Monday is when the transfer window shuts. Liverpool look like they're in good stead. Doesn't look like they'll be doing any business. Arsenal, though, if you score 5 against a City, maybe they don't have a problem with scoring goals, as it were, as most people have put it out to be.
Yeah, maybe, but you look at it like, I think your top scorer this season is a Kai Havertz. Can you beat your chest and say Kai Havertz will give you 20 league goals a season? I think that's where the discussion comes.
But who do they go and get, though?
Not many strikers
are available in January.
No, not many strikers. But I think a position like that takes a lot of a lengthy thought process. You want to look at the guy that can, bring others into play, get you goals, and also not hinder what you're trying to do. I think that's the reason why they're going for a Gyökeres, someone that can score goals, someone that can play as a lone man, someone that can, stretch the defense. But definitely a guy like that, you can't get a guy like that in general.
Gyökeres, Sesko,
those guys are. Sesko, I like the guy, but I don't think he's as talented as RB Leipzig are making him seem like is the odd cake on the market. I think a guy like Gyökeres or an Alexander Isak or an Oli Watkins, for example, I had Arsenal tried out for him this January, would fit the Gunner style of play better. But those type of guys, you don't get them in January.
In terms of where Arsenal are now, they obviously have the midweek game against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, where they have to go to St James's 2-0 down. They'll take a lot of confidence from that kind of result against City. And when you look at the fact that Newcastle also have seemed a bit dodgy at home lately.
Yeah, they have. And at the weekend, got that goal from Jacob Murphy very early, I think at 32nd minute or so. And, within a twinkle of an eye, they lost it to Fulham. So they were on a run of form. I think it also coincided with their 2-0 first leg win against the Gunners at the Emirates Stadium. But right now, they're really not in the best of form. So Arsenal fans and players might feel like, they have a chance, seeing as they just put 5 past Manchester City, and Newcastle have not really been great at home. I think they lost there to Bournemouth 4-1 last week. This weekend, they lost to Fulham at the St. James's Park. So there's that hope, there's that belief that, we can go there and get a result. But I think, all in all, the Gunners that game against Manchester City literally puts everybody else on alert. That these guys are here to stay, these guys are ready to play. There have been talks of, they don't have an out-and-out striker. But Kai Havertz has been scoring goals. Goals have been coming from the bench. Arsenal used to lack goals from the bench. It used to be, if we don't get our starters to score, we really don't have goals from the bench. There was a time where Gabriel Jesus just sparked into life and he got braces, and now he's out injured. Then you have goals coming from Ethan Nwaneri. Even the 18-year-old fullback is scoring goals. And this is with the likes of, Sterling being out and cold, and the main man, Bukayo Saka, currently out injured. So there's that belief within the team that, we can take this one to the wires.
All right, so let's flip the script a bit, and we've talked a lot about Arsenal. Let's talk about City, though. It looked like they gotten some sort of resurgence, especially when they beat a really decent Chelsea side at their ground, at the Etihad last time out. Also booked their place in the next round of the Champions League. But in those 2 games, you still thought that they weren't particularly back to their best. Where are they at now, City?
I think obviously they're not on the level that everybody knows they are, and that's something that Guardiola has frantically spoken about. He still said it on Sunday. He said he was a bit disappointed. I heard John Stones speak, and you could hear disappointment in those guys' in their voice. You watch the game against Chelsea, and if Chelsea are taking their chances, that game is probably different. If Wes Sanchez didn't, for some reason, lose his head and, wanted to cover about 40, 50 meters to come and collect the ball from Ellen Haaland, maybe that game does end 3-1. And you look at the game against Club Brugge in the Champions League. Club Brugge scored first from Rafael Onyedika, and obviously the second half was a different ball game. But in terms of how they are, the composition of the team, as we've seen them in recent years, they are far off from where they're supposed to be. And I don't think that team is as balanced as it used to be, because a season, 2 seasons before, they had an Ellen Haaland who guys will say, probably had lesser touches of the ball, but will get you goals. But what most people forgot was they had runners. They had Phil Foden who was willing to run off the ball. They had Julian Alvarez who understood how to stretch the defense. But now you saw Julian Alvarez down to Atletico Madrid, and you don't have that second striker who can come short when Haaland is going to the far post, or who can go to the far post when Haaland is coming short. There's nobody to stretch the defense. So most times when they play in front of the opponent's defense. And I'm not a coach, but any defender will be very, very happy to see the attackers in front of him as opposed to running behind him. You understand me? So you can see Omar Mamouche on the screen. He tried to do that against Chelsea. He did it really well against Chelsea, dragged Chelsea's defense a lot.
But Arsenal are a completely different team to Chelsea.
But Arsenal are
away
a
from
really
home
different
also.
side. Arsenal are a really different side. You could see it. It was trying to drag Urian Timber into the half spaces. But that's an experienced defender. He understood what you wanted to do. So he lets him stay and hold on to Savinho.
5-1, was that game a 5-1 game, though?
It should be more. I felt like if Kai Havertz had taken...
Because I think in spells, City did control the game, forced Raya to make some very important saves.
I feel like in football, when a team is away and they go 1-0 up, or had the chance to have gone 2-0 up, it's only expected of the home team who are not... Manchester City are no minnows, right? So you expect them to come back, to fight back. And that's what they did. But in terms of clear goal scoring opportunities, Arsenal won that game hands down. Because the only chances I could remember that Man City got, obviously, after that header from Elinala, which was the goal. Before that, they had a header from, I think, Gavido that Raya saved. And another, cross that, I think Gavido fizzed across the goal line. Those were the two saves I could remember. Okay, and there was a deflected effort from Savinho. Those were probably the three things I could remember. But apart from those goal scoring chances that Arsenal had, there was the Kai Havertz situation. There was Partey situation. There was the header from, I think, Gabriel or somebody. You could see all of these chances.
Right.
City's defense were really not balanced. Mistakes were coming from Akanji and the other guys. So it was well deserved for Arsenal.
All right, let's quickly look at what the table looks like in England after such a huge weekend. 5 teams could actually make it to the Champions League, depending on how the coefficients go. For next season's Champions League, the English teams are doing really well. All of them are through to at least the playoff places. Liverpool still lead 6 points clear of Arsenal. They've got a game in hand before the next round of Premier League matches. They play Everton in the Merseyside derby at Goodison Park.